What's good, guys? How is everyone doing? I hope you are well. So we're about to go to the coffee shop today. Don't worry, because you are coming along with me. But before we get into that, I want to kick-start this video with point number one of the things that I've learned throughout my trading journey so far. So let's roll the intro and get straight into point number one.
I know it's gonna hurt, but you're worth fighting for.
So make sure you stick around for the entire video because the points are going to be spread right across the entire video, so you do not want to miss out on those key points. Now, in regards to the first point, which I'm going to mention, and these are mainly things that first come to mind when I ask myself the question of what things have I genuinely learned within my trading journey? Not always directly correlated to trading, but in the trading journey as a whole. So we're going to get into the main 3 to 4 points that I've learned so far, which I think a lot of people just overlook hugely. So the first one being long-term frame of mind. Now let me expand on this, right? The amount of DMs or the amount of messages that I receive on a weekly basis from people who have, invested in a signal service or been scammed by someone, or, without going too down that route, it's crazy how many people go down that route. And why is that? You have to ask yourself why that is, and what is the core reason behind why people are doing that in the first place. It's get rich quick. People want to flip £100 into $500,000 in 3 months. It really does not happen. You are never going to find that anywhere. But what's marketed to us on Instagram or YouTube or mainly social media platforms is the get rich quick. Whether it's consciously or more so very subtly, it's still marketed to us in that way. So we see people on Instagram who are quote unquote successful, and they seem to be doing really well for themselves, and they have apparently done it in such a short amount of time, and then they think that people can replicate that, and it gets into a big cycle really. But I think it all comes down to that, because when you see that kind of marketing, then you get involved in trading yourself. Then you think, okay, well, I can do the same. Let me do the same. Let me flip a short amount of money to a big amount within 3 months, within a month. And you generally set targets to be a millionaire in 3 months. It's mind blowing. But I get where it stems from. It stems from that kind of marketing. So it's important that we address this. It's important that we go into trading with the right frame of mind. The right way that I try and look at it is that if you're going into trading, right, if you put in the hard work for 1, 2, 3 years, you're going to get to that point where you're reaching consistency. Likely, it's different for everyone. You can't really put a certain amount of time on it. But if you go into trading with that mindset that, okay, well, if this takes me 3 years to learn, 5 years to learn, and at the end of it, by the time I'm 35, 40, 45, whatever your age group is, right, then you're going to be in a position to, you're going to be in such a great position where you can take care of yourself financially, other people financially, and just support people. So you have to look at it in that respect and not be so blindsided by what you see on Instagram and, okay, well, I can do this in 3 months' time. It doesn't happen that way. It's a skill at the end of the day. You need to apply patience and time and hard work and sacrifice and all these compound effect things that make up the journey. And I like to think of it in terms of uni. You do not go to uni getting onto a course, let's say law, psychology, whatever it is, right? You do not go into that course and think, yeah, okay, 3-year course, I'm going to master this in 3 months, I'll be out. You do not do that, right? You go into the 3-year course thinking, okay, it's going to take me 3 years, let's be patient, let's work hard at this, and then at the end of it, I'll get a degree, right? Same thing here. But people just have the wrong frame of mind. If you go into trading thinking you're going to be successful in 3 months and you're then not successful in 3 months, what's going to happen? You're going to give up, right? There's a reason that I've not given up, and I've been 3 years into my journey. If I'd have come into trading with that same mindset, yeah, I would have for sure given up. Why would you not? If you think it's going to happen in 3 months and then it doesn't, what else are you going to do, right? But if you go into trading thinking that, okay, well, if this takes me 5 years to learn, then I'm happy with that, because at the end of it, I'm going to be an asset, I'm going to have this valuable skill, and I'm going to be able to, trade large amounts of capital and just build up everything from there. So you have to approach that. So that's a quick point number one, I would personally say, because I really want to address this because so many people get mixed up, and a lot of people come into trading with the not the long-term mindset, the wrong perspective, and it just damages them. So you have to approach trading in the right way. But yeah, right now I'm going to head to the coffee shop very shortly, just because I don't really need two screens for these kind of tasks, so it's going to be good to change up the environment a little bit. So yeah, join me in 2 minutes when we get to the coffee shop. Currently sat in Costa, just doing some forecasting, doing some other non-related trading work, and this brings me nicely onto point number 2. So it's treating trading like a business. If I was to give myself, my younger self coming into trading, one piece of advice, this is what I kind of learned along the way, it would be to treat trading exactly like a business, you know? I think a lot of people come into trading, they treat it like a side hustle, a hobby, and because of that reason, I think the main reason for that not working is because when you treat it like something like a hobby, you're not really going to give it 100%. You're probably going to go, 50-50, 60-40, but you're not going to be going 100% in. I think that's the biggest thing of why people who treat it like a hobby don't really succeed. You have to fully get involved and treat it 100%, and that doesn't mean you have to be doing it full time, because like myself, I used to work a 9-to-5 job, I used to be trading alongside that, but when you're on the charts and whatever time you have to be giving it 100%, so that's the key thing. But yeah, currently sat in Costa, as you can see, pretty neat coffee shop, love coming in here. But yeah, just wanted to bring you behind the scenes of the back end stuff of the business once again. So I showed this on the previous video, so if you haven't checked it out yet, definitely recommend checking it out. Just to give you a bit more of an insight into more of the detail. Once again, I've actually added in metrics. But in regards to this, right, let me bring up an example. If you owned an inventory business or a stock-based business, you would know exactly how much stock you would have. You would have everything logged in your system, how many orders need producing, and how many orders have been out. You would have all these little details, right? Now, why is it that within trading we don't track all this, or we should be tracking this? So this is what I kind of track right now. So I track as much data as I possibly can and really pay attention and focus my energy and attention on this back-end stuff of this business to really accelerate that growth to the next level. So yeah, this allows me to just focus on what needs to be tweaked. So in regards to this, we have the different results sections split off in quarterly terms. So we can see little lines in between the quarters, just separate that. Then we've got the rolling term versus month. So as you can see, with us being in January, we haven't really got too much data here yet. But this is the main focus points in this column here. So in regards to this, right, so we have currency pair performance by specific date. So if I put in, for example, if that was March, then we have the data for that month and vice versa. So that's super important. In regards to this, I've actually just added in strike rate. So right now, I know my strike rate is hovering at 57.14, which is the sum of these two added together. So currently hovering around about 60-40 strike rate, which could definitely be improved, could be optimized further for sure, which is what I'm going to be working on. But without that data, how would I know what my strike rate was, right? So that's really the key. In regards to high probability trades versus value trades ratio, nothing has changed since the last video, so still hovering around 4 trades in terms of high profit for the month. So 2 wins, 1 break even, 1 loss. In terms of value trades, we've had 0 wins, 1 break even, and 2 losses, bringing that to a total of 7 trades. And that's just for January so far. So that's pretty much that. Then we have different trade entry types. Then we have watch this versus wildcard. So you can see on this, out of the 7 trades that I've taken, 5 of them have been on the watch list, 2 of them have been on the wildcards. So that brings it to a total of 7 trades. Once again, with this, first entry versus scaling, all of my trades have been on the first entry. And then in regards to the trading plan 2, we can see that all of my trades so far have been in alignment with my trading plan, which is the key. But usually I'd say towards the back end of 2019, this was also 80 to 85%. So this is something that I'm still working on, because right now you can look at this, we don't have too much data to compare it to. So still going to optimize this with this still being 100%. And then lastly, we have the different sections of how each pair is performing. And once again, I've already shown this stuff, but I really want to mention this because this is one of the key points that I would personally say that I've learned over the last 3 years, to really treat trading like a business. And for me, this is how I do it. This is how I treat trading like a business personally. And it's going to mean something different to every single person that trades, but for me, this is how I treat trading like a business. You know, log the data as much as possible, be big on journaling, and really get your processes down in terms of how you forecast, how you do ASR, how you do trade journaling, your watch list, everything that comes into your trading journey, in my opinion, should be optimized and made efficient as possible. So like I said before, everyone is going to treat trading in a slightly different way in regards to the back end stuff of the business. But for me, like, this is one of the most important points that I would personally mention. So that is kind of how I treat trading like a business. But yeah, before we move on from the coffee shop, let me just show you what I'm looking at in terms of the markets right now. So the markets have been pretty corrective, but they are shaping up very nicely. So let me just bring this to here and I'll show you exactly what I'm looking for the next couple of days. Now, I'm currently watching two pairs going into the rest of the week. So we're currently on Thursday, the 30th of Jan. So the first trade I'm watching is Aussie Kiwi for the long. So looking at the daily chart, we are at the bottom of the structure right now. So if we just look at this, what do we have? Well, if we just move this, let's just delete the trade line for now, and we'll just focus on this. Can you see how price is directly going to that trend line? All I've basically done is, I know within my mind we're at the bottom structure, I've just reined it back in to focus on this double bottom area here. So right now I'm just looking for this move to the upside to here and potentially a lot higher. Or this actually becomes a continuation and drops lower to either these areas or potentially these areas, or a little bit lower before the bigger buys kick in. So I'm excited to see how this played out, but in terms of the criteria for the trade, it's currently lining up regardless of the outcome. What I'm currently looking at right now in terms of Aussie Kiwi is just a bit more development. So anything along the lines of, let's put this here, right? Anything along the lines of this, in which price just trickles down a little bit more, what will that then make? Well, at that point, we'll have this bigger descending channel, as we can see. This bigger descending channel, we have the impulse, the correction, the move down, making up that descending channel, and then simply, how I'm going to play that is that I'll be looking for an entry here on either the 1 hour chart or the 15-minute chart for a more precise and accurate entry. That's pretty much all I use the chart for. And then we've got, with, let's say, a 15 to 20 pip stop. Aussie Kiwi wouldn't be unusual to get 15, let's say 15 on this. Right, so with a 15 pip start, even to this high, we've got 3.45. To the top of the structure, we've got 8.3. And then if we do break out and commit to ourselves, then we've got at least 11 to 1 risk reward. So that's looking prime. That's exactly what I'm looking for on Aussie Kiwi. I'll keep you updated on that one if I take that. And then in regards to any other trades, the only other one that I'm watching right now is Pound Aussie. Pound Aussie is very, very interesting. So daily chart, we're looking at this bigger double top. So we have this bigger structure, once again, this bigger double top here. So if we just focus on this price action here. Now, this can head higher for sure, but with these patterns, we have a big reliability of this push into the downside. Whether this is here or whether we break a little bit higher before the reverse remains to be seen. But regardless, still waiting for that entry criteria on the lower time frames. 1 hour chart, what have we got? Well, we can see, you know how I'm a big fan of taking these kind of trades, right? We have the 1, 2, 3. We see that price is just completely blown through that structure there. Now it's about what happens next. So do we get a continuation or do we get a reversal? So what I'm waiting for simply is something like this. Let's just grab this bit of price action here. If we get anything like this, in which we get a retrace back into the pattern, showing that we are reversing, followed by a tight flag continuation early into the move, then I'll be taking that for sure. To the downside, likely be a 40 to 50 stop, and then if I can refine that on the 15-minute chart, I will, with a slightly tighter stop. The only reason I use the 15-minute is a filter, so if we can get a slightly more precise entry, more accurate entry into the trade, then I'll take it.
and then to the downside looking at a potential for 9.7. So that, if that develops, that will be my trade of the week for sure. But with it being the end of the week, wouldn't be able for these to develop next week. So just being patient right now and see how that develops. So that is the quick market watch for today. So currently just watching those two pairs going into tomorrow. So that's going to be interesting because you can never really tell the time frame of what they're going to develop. So it could develop tomorrow, could develop Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Hard to say, but yeah, judging by intuition, pound Aussie has much more chance of developing tomorrow if it is going to materialize. So that's going to be interesting. So I'll keep updated. If I do take that trade, I'll probably try and film that on another video or keep updated with that. But yeah, currently just going to chill here in the coffee shop for probably another half hour and then go back home, take off some more goals and yeah, just do some more work. So it's going to be sick. But let me just play this quick clip because you probably see me in the coffee shop quite often, but probably don't know why I come here so often. So let's play that clip in 3, 2, 1.
When I was in a 9-to-5, just to give you a bit of context, the vision of me working in a coffee shop used to get me through all of the tough times. You know, all of the hard work, all of the exhausting hours, all of the stuff that I just went through as well, in and out of work. That vision of working in a coffee shop and having the freedom to be able to do that every day if I wish to do so, just got me through. So when I go in a coffee shop right now, whether it's the same coffee shop I envisioned or whether it's a different one and I just sit there with my laptop and it's just me versus me, my headphones in, I kind of just get my own little world and I just think back to when I was working 9-to-5, how far things have progressed, and the fact that I just spoke everything into fruition and backed that up with a lot of hard work. So I remember there used to be a car park, right? There used to be a multi-story car park at somewhere 9-to-5. I literally had to walk like probably a couple minutes and then I'd be there. But I remember always, I used to come in, sit in my car and just be like, oh. And I used to look up, just think back, be so tired, getting like 4 or 5 hours of sleep every night, zombie mode, so tired. But I just used to think like, one day I'm going to be able to trade full time, one day I'm going to be able to run this business and run that business, one day I'm going to have the freedom to be able to control my own time day in, day out. One day I'm not going to be in this situation. And I used to feel that, and I can feel that emotion already, man. It's crazy. But man, I've not thought about that in ages. But I remember, especially towards the last month or two, I always got myself in a state of mind that was totally far past where I was within life at that point. So we had just got back from the coffee shop, so managed to get through a lot of work, which is good, and looking forward to the end of the week in terms of the market, so that's going to be good. So in regards to point number 3 to finish off, and this is probably one of the most underrated concepts when it comes to traders of what I personally see, just because so many people give up along their way. So it is persistence, right? And I've covered this before on the 3 feet from gold story, so definitely check that out if you haven't already. But it's such a important concept that I think we have to, put out there so that people understand that, because so many people give up on their trading journeys, on their journeys in business, whatever that concept is, right? They give up on that final hurdle where they're literally 3 feet from the target, 3 feet from gold. But you never know how close you are going to be. That's the thing. You look at traders, right, who are breaking through into consistency. Then you ask them in advance, what was that one thing that kind of broke you through into consistency? Quite often what I found is that they can't really tell you, and that's because that it's just a compound effect of everything leading up to that point. So everything you've done for the months and the years past, every kind of thing you've learned, that kind of has the compound effect to then break through. Yes, there may be one little thing that kind of push you over the edge into consistency, but more or less it's also that compound effect of different things, those small tweaks over time, which has the biggest effect, which is what this is what I find anyway from speaking to traders and myself. So that's the most important thing. You never know how close you're going to be. You could literally be so close, and then you get one last challenge, one last final hurdle from the universe, then you give up, and then you're always in that what if mentality of what if, you know, I would have been successful, what if I would have been consistent, but you never know how close you're going to be. That's the thing, you never really know. So I think it ties in so nicely with the long-term mindset that we started off this video with. If you come into trading with that 3-month mentality and you get to that 3-month mark, are you going to persist? Probably not. Unless someone changes your mind or alters your beliefs along the way, you're probably not going to persist long enough to succeed. But if you go into trading with that long-term mindset, it's going to give you that great foundation ahead of time before you then, you know, develop yourself as a trader, develop yourself as an individual, and learn about the trading journey in more detail. So I think persistence is probably one of the biggest things. So always persist. You are going to get, from my experience anyway, you have so many challenges along the way. I'm just going to be real with you and just be straight up. Like, there's a lot of challenges, there's a lot of sacrifice, hard work, things that people don't really see behind the scenes. But at the same time, the risk to reward tool of that, you know, going back to trading, risk to reward, thinking in risk to reward, the long-term effect of that is massively outweighs what you have to sacrifice, what you have to risk, what you have to, you know, the work that you have to put in and stuff. And if you enjoy it along the way, then it doesn't even feel like work. Like, trading for me doesn't really feel like work. It's just something fun to do. I love doing it. Yes, it's a business for sure, but I just love trading. I love forecasting. I love the processes that I put in place. So yeah, that's the main point to finish off this video. But yeah, just wanted to point out those little things. And there's probably a lot more things that I could probably mention as well, but these are the 3 key details that I thought of, especially when I was thinking about this video. So hopefully that helps. Hopefully you've enjoyed the video, and don't forget to subscribe, like this video if you enjoyed the content, and click that notification bell down below to stay notified for new uploads so that you don't miss out on future episodes. Now, I hope you enjoyed the video. Speak to you all soon. Have a great week ahead, and let's capitalize on these opportunities. Speak to you all soon. With